Way of the Dragon. Chapter 1. Boom. A thunderous streak of violet lightning rashed across the night sky like a violent dragon, ripping it apart. At that moment, everything within 10 miles was lit up as if it was daytime. The lightning fizzled into an electrical arc with stunning speed. It sparked across the sky and into a hill behind the Khan household, finding its way into a dilapidated shack and finally ended at the young man on a broken bed. Even though his pale face began to light up, the young man who lay there kept coughing. His face conjured immense pain, and his body was accompanied with painful muscle spasms as he struggled with blood trickling out the sides of his mouth. Finally, his eyelids shot open and he regained consciousness. Suddenly, two beams of light shot out of his eyes, not unlike lightning. His terrible visage carried violence, bloodlust, and aggression. Similar to an apocalyptic devil without a rival. A loud bang ensued. At this moment, the shack's door violently opened, 3 unknown assailants rushed in. The leader of the group stared daggers at the young man, asking curiously, "The bastard's awake?" "HMPH, I'm glad I didn't have to waste any energy on healing him." "Zephyr, you should be grateful for Master Lincoln being a forgiving man. He didn't care about your earlier scuffle, he even had us send over some spirit pills." So, the bastard thought that he could go against Master Lincoln. Another sarcastically chimed in. "That's enough, let's report back." The leader waved his hand and left without looking back. Zephyr waited for the 3 of them to leave before allowing his eyes to gleam with excitement. "I actually returned to when I was 16 years old. God be praised." Zephyr exclaimed excitedly with clenched fists. In his previous life, Zephyr broke into an ancient ruin to train, but was smited by ancient magic instead. Unexpectedly, he managed to protect his soul and reincarnated back into when he was young. "Ow, that hurts," spat Zephyr through gritted teeth, trying to get up. A sudden pain emerged as if he was about to be torn into half. Half a day passed by before Zephyr tried to get up again. He worked through the pain and unbuttoned his shirt, only to find a crimson handprint on his chest where his heart is, taunting him. "Lincoln, you bastard, I will remember this." Zephyr struggled to walk, but went and poured himself a cup of tea. The warm drink comforted his body. He lay on his broken bed again, trying to remember his past life. The Khan clan was one of the biggest clans around, with the numbers to prove it. As he was the son of the Khan patriarch, he was treated differently due to his social status. However, when he was 8, his father mysteriously disappeared. Since then, everything quickly changed for him. With the disappearance of his father and an absence of a mother, no one protected him. As the Khan clan required a leader to guide its numbers, Zephyr's grandfather, Typhoon, was voted to be the patriarch. However, as Typhoon was nearing his death, the patriarchy fell to his uncle, Mist, to mantle. After Mist assumed the role of the patriarchy, he viewed Zephyr as a rival and started excluding him out. Zephyr's status within the clan sunk lower and lower, until he became the joke of the Khan. In this world, there were many practitioners of martial arts, where the strongest were well respected. Zephyr tried to practice, though his progress was slow. He did not have much, apart from the Khan blood within him. As Mist saw him as a threat, he withheld the resources for Zephyr to train, further inhibiting his potential. As time went on, he lagged further behind his kin, and was nicknamed the bastard of the Khan clan. In martial arts, there exists different schools of which from lowest to highest, it can be categorized into strength, agility, spirit, alchemy, insight, will, magic, and creation. In each category, it can be further categorized into 9 levels of its mastery. Zephyr's only mastery was strength in the 5th level. However, most, if not all other practitioners were stronger than him. Therefore, what worth did this bastard heir have? The world of martial arts required a lot of medicine and healing poultices. This led to the medicine masters being highly respected. Master Lincoln, the man who wounded him, was the Khan clan's personal medicine master, and was hired for his skill and reverence. He was the most respected medicine man in all of Starlight City. However, he was rotten to the core. Just a few days ago, he almost forced a kiss on a 12-year-old servant girl. Zephyr, in his anger, tried to stop him, but was ultimately wiped out. Chapter 2. In my past life, they all degraded and humiliated me. I was powerless. I swear, in this life, I will have my vengeance, my horror. Thought Zephyr. He pondered further. Now that he was starting over, he had to live a life full of excitement, wonder, and to become the best martial artist there ever was. He concluded with his previous life's experience. He could achieve that goal. Zephyr's confidence was brimming, he was going to make the most of it. Alas, the most important thing now is to treat my injuries, muttered Zephyr. He felt his pain intensify and his breathing slowed down. He figured that he was now very weak. If he does not medicate soon, it will permanently affect his martial arts skills. He could not help but think of how in his past life, this was the very issue that limited his powers later in life. Spirit pill, is it? Zephyr remembered what the group said earlier and flashed an empty smile. He opened the bottle, a refreshing aroma wafted over his nose. Inside, lay a small, pearl-white pill. He soon found himself frowning however, after taking a few more whiffs. HMPH, as suspected, Lincoln's pill has more to it, he plans to assassinate me. Spat Zephyr with a malicious tone. Were it someone uninitiated, they would not have noticed the pill's issue. 60 However, in Zephyr's past life, after he escaped the Khan household, he met a special medicine man along the way, the Pill Emperor. Zephyr was then taken in as an apprentice. With the Emperor's tutelage, Zephyr was able to foster and build his medicine, making skills beyond the average person's knowledge. Just by smelling it, he could tell that the pill in the bottle was tampered with. In my past life, Lincoln's pills poisoned me, stunting my energy reserves and left me as nothing more than an average person, destroying my rightful destiny. I sweat, I will make him pay. Zephyr thought as his face was filled with a fiery fire. Zephyr fell into a coughing fit as his wounds were getting more irritated. He picked up the pill bottle and gazed at the spirit pill. Spirit pills were a highly sought-after commodity in Starlight City. The average person would never have the opportunity to possess one of these pills. Even the Khan heir would only be allowed 10 every month, while the masses would only get it once every half a year, if they were lucky. Hey, apparently my death is an expensive prize, said Zephyr, an empty chuckle left mouth. Despite his age and standing, Zephyr was still the heir to the clan. Lincoln would not dare to openly murder him, which was why he resorted to lacing the pill with poison to avoid suspicion. Lincoln would put trace amounts of poison that would slowly increase with each dosage. Zephyr was lucky to have escaped the Khan household in his past life, or else he surely would have been poisoned to death, and none would be the wiser. Alas, I have no other choice but to take the pill and heal my injuries, Zephyr spat mockingly. Although this pill won't outright kill me, I can surely get rid of its effects after what I've learned before. He let out a wry chortle and hesitantly swallowed the pill. The medicinal properties immediately took its effect and started healing his body with haste. He could feel the healing energies course through his veins. Zephyr was not boasting when he meant that in his past life, he was revered as the Pill King. Now, he was at least 100 times better than Lincoln, displaying a mastery over the medicine's effects and power. He was confident that he could find a remedy to counteract the trace amount of toxins he had consumed. Otherwise, what good would he be? He felt rejuvenated as the energy in his body began restoring itself and his injuries slowly healed up. Zephyr's face relaxed and showed relief. Finally, I can now learn the ancient draconic way, muttered Zephyr. Also known the ancient draconic way as the dragon's might or the way of the dragon, was an ancient skill. Legends spoke of an untold number of heroes and saints fighting over the chance to learn it. Rumor has it that this skill was considered the most barbaric method back then, outright forbidden for the most part. It was said that practitioners who mastered the way could transform themselves into a dragon, conquering all those beneath them. Chapter 3. In his previous life, Zephyr was fortunate enough to get his hands on this forbidden tome but was unable to put the knowledge to use. Accordingly, one had to be below 20 years of age to practice the way, as it required them to have an incomplete bone development. He had the potential and power to learn this godly boon, yet was unable to overcome this divine skill. Zephyr considered that his greatest regret back then. The ancient draconic way was a strength-based art. Once mastered, it would allow the user's body to grow exponentially stronger. Mastering this way could potentially be stronger than any other person on the planet. Rumor has it that when it's fully mastered, the user may morph into a dragon and utilize its natural power, all strength, no weaknesses. Thought Zephyr. Dragons are the king of beasts, the powerhouses in this world. If I can master this power, then nothing can stop me, he puffed. Zephyr's excitement grew, but he did not let it get the best of him. He carefully recited the way's incantation, word for word, silently echoing it in his mind. His breathing steadied, and when he manifested the way, a large influx of energy built steadily in him, almost as if it was about to burst out of him. His immediate surroundings felt like a black hole, draining all the spiritual energy around him. Within that moment, it felt as though the air itself was solid. Cones of energy built up, assimilated with one another and spun around him. It expanded into a cyclone without an end, and grew so big that it quickly encompassed his shack. Suddenly, the tempest came to a halt and crashed downwards. Tables, benches, and flower pots were all shattered instantly. Dragon's might! Howled Zephyr, his eyes lit up fiercely, bursting with energy and light. He quickly clamped his eyes shut, and felt the healing properties of the pill being fully absorbed. The spirit pill contained vast amounts of energy, strengthening the body in many ways, be it physical or spiritual, and it was exactly what Zephyr needed. Lesser healing pills were too weak for his current needs. Stronger pills would be wasted too, as they would not be absorbed as well. Lincoln, despite what you think, your pills are working wonders. Zephyr was fired up, but he held his excitement back, focusing his all on the way, channeling his inner energy. At that moment, it felt like an eternity, yet a fleeting second. Suddenly, Zephyr's body began to emit a terrible sound. The sound of his bones shifted, almost like a dragon's roar. This is the draconic bone morphing, I must hold on. Zephyr struggled through gritted teeth. The shifted body mass caused him an intense pain, yet, Zephyr steeled himself, and continued focusing on the way. Zephyr's pain was so immense, that it felt as though a live dragon was clawing and writhing within him, shredding his bones, tendons, and devouring energy. He was in an unimaginable suffering state. Zephyr's face slightly contorted before violently spitting out fresh blood. It became too much for his body. His energy channels were slammed shut. His body was not ready for this. However, the ancient draconic way was a forbidden power with unorthodox effects. It forced open his energy channels, and funneled it throughout his body. It felt as though his body was being torn asunder. The conjured might grew immensely, and threatened to rip Zephyr apart. It was at this moment that the spirit pill's properties finally manifested. With a voice like thunder, Zephyr's eyes shot open as he bawled in pain. Two shafts of light shot out from his eyes, akin to two writhing playing dragons. A low buzz echoed throughout his shack. Before this, Zephyr's energy channels were naturally deep, but now it had multiplied from its base. With that, there were no more blockages in his energy, as his energy channels were unblocked by the dragon. Catching himself, Zephyr pondered. He will soon overtake everyone. Chapter 4. Zephyr violently spat out an ink-black cloth that smelled horrible, like death. A sizzling sound was heard when it made contact with the floorboards as it ate through the already rotten wood. The way sure is incredible. No wonder it's a higher magic. Here I thought I would slowly rid myself of the toxin later. The ancient dragon weighs just that powerful, immediately ridding my body of all toxins, thought Zephyr as he caught his breath. HMPH. Zephyr shot his fist forward, creating a strong breeze, much like a dragon's breath. Zephyr felt as though a real punch could shatter a hill. Is this the might of a dragon? Zephyr mocked. All he did was practice a simple punch, and he already felt its mighty power. Huh, true energy. All I did was recite it once, and it bolstered my energy manifold. Feeling the power within him, Zephyr felt ecstatic. Only through experience and mastery will a practitioner emit true energy. He felt his battle power become stronger than before, surpassing his previous limits. However, this power still isn't enough. I need more of these pills to augment myself. Lincoln, you better not miss a delivery. He growled. Zephyr continued to hone his control over the way throughout the night. The next morning, the ruckus from Zephyr's training could be heard from outside his shack. The stance he took conveyed a dragon's wrath, each strike carried great power. A dragon's might is no small matter. Even though I've reached new heights, I am still far from where I need to be. Zephyr surmised that he must be at a level 6 strength fighter now. A loud creak shocked Zephyr. Just as he started to recover, the shack's door was hastily opened. A small silhouette quickly entered the shack. She was Zephyr's handmaiden, Leah. Even if she wore simple clothes, she had the sweetest face and the most mesmerizing eyes. She was breathless and red-faced, hands clutching 2 buns. Upon seeing Zephyr, she shot up with glee. Master, are you feeling better? Leah. Zephyr lit up. He barely controlled his excitement. Leah was the servant Lincoln forced himself upon. He was glad to see that she remained unharmed. Leah was taken in as a child by Zephyr's father and has served Zephyr loyally and faithfully ever since. She was the only one in the clan that genuinely cared for him. As such, Zephyr could not bear to stand idly as Lincoln harassed her that day. Master, this is great, you're all right. Leah walked forward and examined Zephyr. Upon realizing that he has indeed recovered, she smiled brightly. Ever since the duel with Lincoln 2 days ago, Zephyr had been knocked unconscious. It toyed Leah into a worried wreck. I am. Zephyr caressed her face lightly to comfort her. Warm memories were instantly triggered. I will never let anyone hurt you, he thought to himself. In his past life, Zephyr had saved her once as well, but he could not save her the second time. To protect her purity after being defiled by Lincoln, Leah chose to take her life. Since then, Zephyr had been in deep pain and blamed himself for what had happened. To ensure vengeance, he escaped his household. Although he managed to get his revenge, he was not able to get Leah back. The regret of not saving Leah always haunted him. Fortunately, he had the chance for a do-over, a living, breathing do-over. Zephyr hugged her. She's still alive, he thought. Zephyr couldn't help but let a few tears shed from his face. Chapter 5. Master, you haven't eaten anything for 2 days. You must be hungry. Please eat these buns, Leah pleaded happily. She had a bit of a blush. This was the first time Zephyr hugged her like this. Thank you. Zephyr nodded. He noticed Leah's tired state, and immediately understood that she had been working hard nights again to earn some money. The Khan did not provide enough for Zephyr to survive. Thus, he had to rely on Leah to provide. As he was heavily injured, he figured Leah must have worked twice as hard to nourish him back to health. As he gently held Leah's delicate hands, he noticed the horrible scars and wounds on her hands. Her wounds were slightly swollen, but they did not have enough money to treat them. Leah, you don't have to push yourself anymore. Zephyr said. It's okay, I can handle it. Leah replied with a slight smile. Zephyr's injuries were severe, his body was weak. He knew she would see to it to nourish him back to health. If I asked you not to go, don't go, Zephyr said sternly. I have an idea to earn big. Based on what he has learned in his previous life, money was nothing more than a bunch of numbers to him now. Tisk. Who knew that you were so resilient? A cold, shaky voice suddenly ringing through the shack. Zephyr was slightly disturbed after hearing that familiar, venomous voice. He lifted his head towards the door, and saw a small, gray, old man, squinting at them. His stare was as unnerving as a viper. Wesley. Zephyr stared at him coldly, a bout of anger rising within him. Wesley was one of Lincoln's lackeys. He was stronger than Zephyr, and a wicked character. It was him who stole Leah away and sent her to Lincoln. If it was not for Zephyr, Leah would have been defiled by that B***starred Lincoln. I will kill this man, swore Zephyr silently. When Leah saw Wesley, she was petrified, and further burrowed herself into Zephyr's embrace. Unable to look back, Zephyr protectively hugged Leah, gently patting her back. With a murderous and cold look towards Wesley, he asked, "What do you want?" "You little sh*t, you got lucky back there. The great Master Lincoln is a forgiving man, he does not bother with past trifles. He sent me to examine you." Looking wryly, he took out a pill bottle. "Here's a spirit pill, take it and heal yourself, never forget the Exalted One's kindness." He spat. Seeing the bottle, Zephyr couldn't help but snicker in his mind. As suspected, Lincoln was scheming to slowly poison Zephyr. "Hey Zephyr, take care of yourself, all right?" Wesley placed the bottle down and cackled coldly while exiting. "That's weird, why would Lincoln give you a spirit pill?" Leah said with a worried look. "I figure he's scared. I am the young master after all. If he murdered me, I don't think he'll get out that easily," Zephyr said with a relieved smile. However, his demeanor changed after swelling the pill. Once again, it had been tampered with. Half a year passed, and in that span of time, Zephyr trained day and night. The way did not disappoint. In the 6 months that he had been training, his powers grew beyond what he could have imagined, and it utterly satisfied him. Moreover, the way allowed his body to break to new levels. Even though he has not fought anyone since Lincoln, Zephyr knew that he could take on those beyond his current level. He knew he had been training hard, with some help from Lincoln's spirit pills, but was still surprised with his improvements. As Lincoln was keen on slowly poisoning Zephyr, he had Wesley deliver a poisoned spirit pill each day. Little did he know, the pill eased Zephyr's training manifold. "P2E. He spat. Zephyr slowly opened his eyes and stared at the inky black liquid that was spat out. An empty smile appeared. "Lincoln. You probably never considered that a dragon's might can so easily be rid of your poison," Zephyr thought mockingly. "I've been training for so long, I'm almost beyond my current level," he pondered. "However, the pills are starting to lose their effect on me," Zephyr concluded worryingly. Zephyr glanced at the 3 pill bottles nearby, and an idea suddenly popped into his mind.